Hey, hey. Howdy, y'all. My name's David. I'm just kidding. Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the show. Last time we worked with the Mi50s building llama.cpp, and at the end of the video I promised you that we would do some ComfyUI and some Stable Diffusion. Well, that's what this is. And I know it has been a long time. I'm a couple, 3 or 4 days overdue with this video. It's been the holidays. Hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving and gave lots of thanks and appreciation for all the gifts that you have. I know I did, 3 of which are in school again today. So here I am working on some YouTube videos. So yes, in this video, we've got the Stable Diffusion running in ComfyUI, and we're gonna revisit the llama.cpp because I got a little bit of different setup for you. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome back. Let's get into it. All right, before I dump this X99 board and move on to something else, I'm really tired of messing with it. I did want to share with you all the BIOS settings that you have to do in order to get the Mi50s to boot. In advanced, if you go to system agent configuration and then NB PCIe configuration, I've set all those to Gen 3 instead of auto. And then you go to the boot settings. I've got fast boot disabled. The most important thing is this one, above 4G decoding. You have to enable that. By default, that is disabled. I have compatibility support module. It's actually enabled. I didn't realize that. I thought I had disabled that, but I do have secure boot disabled. And in order to disable it, you have to go here to key management and you delete each one of these keys, the PK, the KEK, the DB, and the DBX. And once you've deleted all those and go back, then it will say it disabled there. You can't actually it's not a dip switch like some BIOSes. You can turn it on and off, but with this one you just delete the keys and it automatically goes to disabled. And then I've switched it from Windows WAFI mode to other OS. And that'll pretty much get you there. And just to show you again, it shows I've got 6 gigs of RAM. I've only got 2 sticks in there now. And you go to the SBD, I've got one, this is the one it's reading on channel A. And you go to D1, well, now it's not even reading that. So I'm getting, got some regression. Oh, here it is, it's on C. It sees the RAM stick, but it won't pull it in. So I don't know what's going on with this board. I'm tired of messing with it. It's what's taking so long to get this video out. I did just want to show you the settings that you need to do in the BIOS if you want to try this at home. So there we go. I'm done with the X99. Moving on. So the setup is just the same as we did in the last video. The link is down in the description to my site. That'll just walk you through it. It's Ubuntu 24.04 and we're installing Radeon 7.17 and AMD GPU from AMD's Quick Start Setup. Just don't reboot yet. Because we have to go to the Arch Linux site and download the Radeon RockBLAS file from there and then copy paste the GFX 906 tensor files into our local Radeon directory. Now as far as my actual setup, I had my Radeon in the first slot and the Mi50s in slots 5 and 7. That's the only way I could get it to boot. So I booted into Linux and I could not get Radeon Info to work. It would not load. It kept saying killing service and I couldn't get it to show my devices. All right, the solution to the Radeon crashing problem was to downgrade the kernel to 6.5.11. I was really quite confident that I had narrowed it down to one of these 3 or 4 pins right here at this corner. That is the section that is the C channel according to the pin layout, and it didn't look bad. It was just off a touch. I tried several different ways to get this thing to boot, and I just ultimately had Had to use a new motherboard that came in just the other day. That's the MSI Z690, and just changed platforms. But I really wanted this to work on the X99. And here's a close-up of what I was looking at. I was quite confident that it was this pin, or this one next to it, or this one just below it. Alright, here's the new setup. Got the two Mi50s and the Radeon 7 on there. This is an MSI Mag Z690 board. Just like the AM5 Tai Chi Lite, both of these are routed to the CPU in an X8, X8. And then this is an X4, and it goes to the chipset. But I got the 13900 out of this jobber is I dissected this little puppy, and I tell you what, if you've ever worked on a Dell, every single thing is proprietary, and it is a royal pain. This motherboard, for instance, goes all the way from the back. Here's the back panel. Here's the front panel. That's right, there's no control board and some wires going. It literally wedges its, oh, it's a pain. It's a pain. The power supply is proprietary. I needed to get the CPU cooler to mount. And of course, it's not, those bolts are welded, tack welded to the actual case. Had to tear those off. Anyhow, all the fans had to come out just to get the motherboard out. Whoo! Alright, after working with this for days and days and days on the X99 and trying to get PyTorch installed and then ComfyUI and messing with dependencies and all the issues with the kernel on the X99 board and running the Mi50s with the Radeon 7, I finally came across this. Mi50 3607 has all these pre-built Docker images for RockM, PyTorch, llama.cpp, ComfyUI, as well as VLLM. And they're set up to run with the Graphics 906 architecture. So I'm going to run a Docker image. So let's just close this out, and I've written a script here that will pull the Docker image and load it, and then all you have to do is right click and go there. So here we are, and let's get our first. Got just a couple. You'll see I hit run. It's running, it's running, it's running. Let's get the queue shown over here. Now the first time that you generate an image, just like when we run our benchmark, it does take it a little extra time to load the model into VRAM. And this is the Stable Diffusion Turbo. It's the newest release from what I gather. It's created to make a image that's width 512 by 512 pixels. I've tinkered with it a little bit here. It does a decent job. It does look a little cartoonish, but it is fast. So that took 30 seconds. Now let's give it another go here. You'll see the second time. I mean, there's the fox with the glass, less than a second. And let's see if you guys are ready for this one. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Huge 12-point buck walking down a forest trail. I get a kick out of it every time. It's got something else that's 12 too. Big old donkey dong on there. This model needs a little more training, I think. Oh, but I can see what they're going for. I see what they're going for. Oh man. Don't let the kids watch. This could get out of hand pretty quickly. But you can see the speed there. We're generating models in less than, or images in less than a second. Now I've got 3 GPUs loaded. I think there's a way to use all of them on larger models on ComfyUI, and I haven't figured out how to do that just yet. But let's get a bigger model on here, maybe one that doesn't produce pornography, animal pornography, and we'll come back to it. So give me a second here. All right, so here we've loaded up the Stable Diffusion Simple version, which is a little more complex, it seems. I've just got it set up as recommended to use train values. So we can do it 1024 by 1024, not quite 1080 or 1920 by 1080 on any of these, but that's pretty good. That's better than 512. And looks like here's our prompt over here: evening, sunset, scenery, blue sky, nature, glass bottle with a galaxy in it. All right, let's just give that one a run and see what happens. Get our cue over here. Sorry. I might have to blur that out, honestly. I don't want to get flagged already. I guess it saw the 12 in the prompt and dropped a 12-incher on there, huh? Anyway, I'm interested to see what this one will come up with as far as timing and quality. And let's see what it's running. It's still got the single Mi50 running. Okay, we're down to the refiner. Gonna have to turn the fans up a little bit and start this over. All right, I'm gonna go a second time at this. I had to turn the GPU fans up just a little bit because this process takes a little bit longer than the other. So that GPU was maxed out at 80. And when that HBM memory gets up there, that card just throttles like you wouldn't believe. So that was affecting our performance. So let's start this puppy over. We're just going with the default: evening, sunset, scenery, blue sky, nature, glass bottle with a galaxy in it. Let's hit the run button and watch that queue up. And we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, it's still loading the model. Okay, to get this model loaded, there were 2 components that I had to download. Each one of them was about 6 gigs. I'm still learning about the inner workings of this system. Okay, it's still, VRAM is 9.8 gigs out of 32 on that first Mi50. I don't know that anything is happening on the Radeon. Of course, that second Mi50 is completely idle. Okay, 10.3 gigs. Let's get to where we can see the image when it comes up. All right, I was watching the power draw. We got up to close to 300, about 288 watts. And you can see 185 seconds on the first one. And I'll say the quality of that image is brilliant. Very high def, shiny, good bokeh, as they call it, in the background. Very focused up front. Wow, that's really nice looking. All right, let's try a few of those that we did earlier. I'll just copy and paste, and we'll see what happens with this. Get back over here. See if the second picture takes a little less long. All right, I take that back. I looked over just as it changed from 440 watts right before the picture loaded here. And that looks pretty good. This looks real, honestly. This umbrella looks very real. The surf is a little AI. Clouds look real. I mean, this looks like almost like a real photo. And it's at 1024 by 1024 resolution. And that took 33 seconds. All right, so let's get this. I'll get this second prompt and run it. And I'm really looking forward to this third prompt. I'll see a 12-point buck walking through a forest trail. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, 445 watts, 447. It is pulling at the wall. I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments about how to divvy up the workload. I'm sure there is a way to do that. All right, it actually looks like a fox. Sharp. Pretty. This is fun. I mean, look at all this. You could work with this for days, tweaking this. All right. Let's see what our 12-point buck does. Ooh, I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Not going to lie. If you recall, not only did he have a donkey dong, but his face looked like some kind of box terrier pup instead of a buck. Yeah, about 450 watts at the wall, so it's got to be pulling on a second card in some form or fashion. I don't know if that's just the display. It's only reporting. Again, I got 13900 KF. Ooh, that actually looks like a buck. And I don't see a large penis on his chest, so that's nice. I mean, it's clearly AI. Not as good on that picture, but you could see 33 seconds for a 10 by 24 by 10 by 24. All right, and look, I mean, these templates are numerous. So, all right, I'm gonna shut her down here and I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna do a little research first and see if I can't find a good efficient video gen and load that up here, and we'll see what it can do. I'll be right back with you. All right, with a little bit of searching, I did find it's called Stable Video Diffusion, SVD for short. And if you search in ComfyUI, there's two different options, text to image to video or image to video. So I guess I'm gonna install this one, and it's a 9 gigger. So I'll be back with you. All right, how come somebody didn't tell me? I already had it loaded on there. Look here, text to image, image to video, and then say video. So anyway, template, model filter, SVD, this one. So I just selected it again, but I think it was already there after I downloaded it and moved it over. So let's give it a rip. It defaults to photograph beautiful scenery, nature, mountains, Alps, river, rapids, snow. Let's run it, see what happens. Uh-oh, hip error, invalid device function. All right, in typical fashion, always got a hurdle to jump over. So here's my launcher file. I included the old HSA override for the graphics 9.0.6 and reloaded ComfyUI. And we're going to try it again. All right, we're going to try this again. It doesn't like to do the tensor split and split row. It crashes and the whole kernel goes kaput. So we're just going to leave that off and see what happens if we run it without any of that. And if you remember, it did better last time. It got 46 tokens a second with the tensor split on. And when we took that off on the dual Mi50s using 5 expert layers on system RAM, it got 54. So we're going to load it up here across 3 GPUs. We've got the Radeon 7 on top of the Mi50s because on this i9 13900 it's the KF model, so it is overclockable, but it also has no internal GPU. So we're using the Radeon 7 for our display over to our monitor. And we also have a bonus 16 gigs of HBM2 super fast VRAM with that card. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of it as soon as we get our model loaded here. Now I couldn't get this loaded on the X99, and I'm thinking maybe it's due to the cooling of the NVMe stick. On this Z690 board, it's got a thermal pad and a huge heat block that sits on top of the M.2 drive. And I just had it sitting bare naked on the X99 board. And I'm thinking maybe it was getting up to 75, 76 degrees, and the model would never finish loading. And I think that might be the reason why. All right, we got it going here. Let's launch our Llama benchmark. Oh, Python 3. Pardon me. I'm excited to see, again, we have 46 tokens a second and 54 tokens a second when we were using a little bit of system RAM. And you can already see we're getting 74 tokens a second running a 120B MOE model. Not too shabby. All right, finished up averaging 73.95 tokens per second on a 120B model with 0 of it in system RAM and all of it between the 2 Mi50s and the Radeon 7. Pretty good setup. And again, this motherboard splits GPU lanes 1 and 2, 8x8 to the CPU, and then the third 16 width slot is only 4 lanes, and it goes to the chipset. And it's really interesting. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that it did better. I'm surprised that it did that much better. I thought that third card would really choke out, being that it was going through the chipset. Still learning about this. So many intricacies. Alright, just for fun here, I've been running the context. I think the last one was at 16,000. I'm going to do 128,000 on this go round, and we'll see what kind of hit we take. I've still got the previous benchmark shown there. 74 is where we hit with the 16,000 context. Alright, we've got our model loaded with 128,000 context, and we're going to start the same benchmark. See what kind of penalty we take with that. Well, none. 74.6 on that first run, 74.36 on the second run. Looking very nice. $75, 74.5, 74.59, very nice, 128,000 token, or context. This is a nice setup. Get two Mi50s and a Radeon 7, nice. Alright, I'm going to load up the 120B with 128,000 context. And one thing I did want to show you all is, I didn't notice this yesterday when I was running it, but I have the PCI Gen for the first two slots set to 4 in the BIOS. And the Mi50s natively are a Gen 4 graphics card, but the Radeon 7 is a Gen 3 graphics card. And I assume since it's Gen 3 and sitting in the third slot, that it automatically knocks lanes or slots 1 and 2 down to Gen 3 as well. The CPU splits the first slot 8x8, but I was expecting to see Gen 4x8 and then Gen 3x4 down here, but they're all Gen 3. Excuse me. So I guess that's a normal, I guess it just does the same generation across all the slots instead of mix and matching. So that's something to consider as well. But we're going to run this again, and just wanted to point that out to you. And now that I've got the benchmark running, it is quite fast, so I did want to look at the wall. It's pulling 391 watts. 388, 395. It's staying below 400 watts for all three. The whole system, 398. Yeah, it's less than 400 watts through the whole test, and averages 74.5 tokens a second for a 120B MOE model. Not too shabby. Running Gen 3, 8, Gen 3, 8. Let's see if that bounced up during the test. It doesn't, it stays at Gen 3. This app I'm using is called Mission Center. It's in the App Store on the Linux. All right, there you got it. All right, that's going to about wrap it up for this show. As you've seen, the Mi50s are great cards. They're all around great for AI. They do LLMs very well, especially the MOEs with that huge 32 gigs of HBM2 VRAM. It's top notch. It's too bad that the price has gone through the roof, but that's just the way it goes. Once the word gets out, hey, we live in a capitalist society. Supply, demand. It's an equal balance. I hope you all enjoyed the show with the ComfyUI and the Stable Diffusion. Woo! It was a good one, eh? And as I mentioned before, my next video, I'm going to do what I can to kind of wrap this all up and give you all a buyer's guide, like a shopper's guide. It is Christmas season. I'm sure the little elf guys running around your all's house too, if you've got kids like we do. But I want to really lay it out there with all we've learned over the past couple of weeks in just 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what you need to look for in your hardware setup if you're looking to do an AI server at home, and you'll get the best bang for the buck no matter what. So appreciate your time as always. You guys have a wonderful holiday season. We'll see you again soon.